Hello, this is HighZealot here and welcome to E3 and the start of Midway. This is my fleet, as you can see, as always. Showing that off, lots of anti-air. I believe the current air power before like any planes are shot down is about 421, though by the boss it lowers to about 370 something usually, though it's still enough. Even if I take the north route, it's still enough air power to maintain air superiority, except for the last sync. For the last sync, I pretty much say screw air superiority and just change from the Rekt to another Sarin for more line of sight, just to be safe. Because I fully, kind of expected that the line of sight would increase for the final sync, because that seems like what the devs are doing these days, trolling you with bullshit stuff like that. And it's also the first time with the combined fleet mechanics. Pretty much, the first fleet is 4 CB, 2 BB, for fast BBs if you want to say it, if it really matters that much, which it technically does. And the second fleet is 1 CL, 3 D8D, 1 CAB, and 1 CA, because Chikuma is not remodeled yet, using them pretty much what appears to be pretty much the same as Diamond Formation, because these nodes are pretty much just the battle for the air, I guess. I mean, there's no actual shelling, it's just two pretty much air fights, I guess you can call it. It's pretty simple, with enough air superiority. I mean, I'm not sure, but I might actually have enough for, like, for these early first nodes, I may actually have enough for, like, even air supremacy, but really the important thing for for E3 in my opinion is to have lots of air power. If you can shoot down enough enemy planes, you're not gonna have a problem. They're never gonna, I mean, they'll be lucky if they even knock someone into yellow. You have to be really unlucky if they knock someone into orange if you have enough air superiority. I mean, just watch. First of all, you can see that they don't have enough to actually even have scout effect. Because I've seen other players where I watched the stream once. If I recall correctly, that they had the green text, but it would still, like, maybe it's just slightly high enough. Apparently he was also unprepared. So 2 air attacks, and pretty much fine. And you can see they pretty much did no damage. Back to my fleet high. The CBs I'm using are, as you can see, Sorya, Kiryu, Tsukaku, Shokaku, which are not my strongest carriers actually. My strongest carriers is Akagi and Kaga, who are both level 90s. Like, I believe Akagi's level 95, Kaga's level 94. Taiho's also there as well, at level 60 something. But she's clearly not the highest level, but she's also one of the most powerful ones, as she is more armored, and she's the armored carriers, which can launch planes even when orange. Which I was recommended by JP to actually well, I did post on JP, only one person responded and suggested that let me move this a bit. Suggested that these are carriers that should use for Midway and that should be used for E6. Not that I've even seen anybody use 3 carriers for E6. So you can see before the pre-boss node contains the Midway heme. The boss itself is an aircraft carrier, pretty much Yorktown. Why do the Her Majesty's Canadian ships never get any damn love? It's always Americans or the British. Canadians get nothing. I mean, us Canadians, I'm fairly sure we had the 3rd largest navy and the 4th largest air force by the end of World War II. 3rd largest and 4th largest out of what? A lot of countries. That should be, significant, but nobody ever remembers that. And yet the pre-boss has a lot of air power. I mean, usually she can take out pretty much 25 to 30 worth of air power, which is a lot, considering pretty much, which is, I mean, overall I end up losing like a lot of air power before the boss. I don't remember what the air power is, but I remember what for the boss. The boss is some air to actually get air superiority on the boss before the final fight. It's about around 300. It rises to like you need 400, which is that's not worth it. I mean, you need so much fighters, and you pretty much lose. You won't have enough because you're gonna lose most of it by the pre-boss. So, for the final sync, you might as well go for more line of sight, because it's. And at one point, I actually get sent away from the boss, and then just end up, putting more line of sight on my second fleet, which at the moment is pretty much all double attack. Pretty much Yorktown. Doesn't even sink. I mean, you do sink her. She appears again. She's pretty much the E5 boss is pretty much the same, and then E6 the pre-boss pretty much the same. So she never sinks because you have no subs. Can't use. Well, I think you can use subs, but the chance of the subs. I mean, historically, I believe Yorktown was sunk by I-168, which yeah. You can possibly do, but it's kind of risky for no good reason, I guess. Like, maybe there is some sort of sub-cheating method, but I mean, as much as I love her, I can't really take her here. I mean, look at these new modern destroyers with their super high-tech anti-sub weaponry. I mean, the Abyss always seem to have that much better than us. They seem to have better anti-sub weapons. I mean, come on, line ahead, they can still possibly take us up to orange, while it's very unlikely for that to happen to us. So this is how shelling usually works. The second fleet attacks first. First should only get one round of shelling, then they attack with torpedo, then the first fleet attacks, and they follow the usual rules as far as I know. Every carrier I have currently contains one yellow, one bomber, and then the rest are red proof. Most of them contain torpedo bombers because I, have better torpedo bombers. I mean, I have like the plus 13 torpedo while I only have. I mean, I do have one dive bomber because it's the best dive bomber that's available for an I know, but I don't have any. I don't use any dive bombers. I mean, yeah, it's no big deal. I mean, the idea of having the bombers on them is just so they can actually shell and potentially hit. Now we just go to night battle, which is perfectly fine. I mean, most of our fleet is perfectly available for double deck and Sendai, yes, and also flares and air scout, night scout, which is helpful. Sendai proceeds to wreck the boss, put it red, and then Hibiki or Bib finishes off. Eventually my destroyers turn into pretty much more radar carriers that you don't need. Eventually I just take off their guns. They still get one gun, but the rest are radar. Just to be safe. Never know. I mean, the wikis still don't have like a exact number for line of sight. I mean, on wiki I can't even find. I can't seem to find anything that says like suggested line of sight. On the English wiki, I can see other reports of other fleets and see what their line of sight was. So pretty much for the rest of this is E3 is a relatively simple map. In fact, I haven't done E4 or E5 yet. I'm recording this post commentary a day after I did it, and it's a bit late because I was away for the whole day. So I pretty much lost an entire day of resources or potential E4, but I'm fairly sure once I do E4 and E5, E3 would probably be the easiest map. Because, I mean, assuming you have the carriers and equipment ready, you should have no problems with E3. Pretty much just, I love how air super and, the episode is maybe time for the carriers to shine. No, they're still pretty much just red proof carriers. They can still do, lots of damage if they get lucky, but, for the most part, I mean, for the non-boss nodes, it's just the same thing happening over and over again. Launch planes, shoot them down, take minimum to no damage, rinse and repeat. Even the pre-boss node is not for it at all. Sometimes, sometimes you get a full fleet, sometimes you just get 4, which is actually kind of strange. I'm not sure how much effect my destroyers 10 centimeters gonna even have on the enemy aircraft. I mean, I assume it will shoot a few down, but it probably doesn't make too big a difference. It's their actual aircraft. Red, it doesn't matter. first fleet doesn't even go to night battles anyway. It's always the second fleet. Even if it's a mandatory night battle, it's the second fleet that participates, while the main fleet falls back, and you have to pick one of the normal formations. The other formations for this combined fleet, I don't know. It feels like, alright, let's see. The top left formation, I believe, is anti-sub. The top right formation doesn't seem to have much use, because it seems to pretty much does what the bottom right does, except it doesn't benefit the second fleet, according to what the wiki says. Of course, it's an English wiki, and we know how accurate that can be. This one's kind of annoying. I mean, having to go to night battle to do 4 damage is like kind of a waste of ammo. Not that it really matters, because ammo is the most bountiful resource I have in one. E-3 is more bauxite heavy, but it still doesn't cost that much. I mean, it's approximately enough to cover like one large ship craft, depending on what it would be. Not enough to build a Taiho, but enough to build a Yamato. Just in bauxite though, you do not use enough steel, and ammo for anything else. Yeah, Rob, get my wife, a copy of my wife. That's about it though. It's been a real long day. After this, I have to actually record Orcsman Side 2, which means even more work. Actually, after I render this, because I wanted to get this up tonight. We made it to Yorktown again. Pretty much Yorktown. I mean, they pretty much, the Abyss for the most part, pretty much, like for the event masters, pretty much represent like, battles against the U.S. Navy. But I think we can all agree that the Abyss fleet, aren't actually like Americans. They just, I mean, the devs probably just base it off like American ships, because that's probably the best for events if you're gonna try to base off historical events. I mean, it's based on the story. I mean, it's most likely that they're gonna actually make a, try to expand the universe. It's probably gonna be like, they're just aliens, coincidentally, who somehow have similarities to history that are just pure coincidence. Because I'm fairly sure. Because, yeah, it's more likely that other nations will also be fighting against the Abyss. Hopefully the Canadians will have parts for once. Torpedoes. 46cm cannons. Apparently they're supposed to be like slight accuracy decreases, but it's generally insignificant. It's much better at 46cm cannons than switching it for 41 for some supposed accuracy and increase in accuracy. Because even someone on JP, I believe, did some sort of testing, not a lot of testing, doesn't have a really big sample size, but the numbers he gave from his small amount of testing showed that the amount of accuracy was not a lot, like less than 10%, hit less than 10% more, and overall damage is overall the person who did the most damage is the one that was equipped with 46cm guns. For this, yeah, for E3 you can see that probably the order I have my ships in are probably not the best, but it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't. You can put them in any order. Well, you have to have your light carrier in the light cruiser in the front to actually form like combined fleets, because that's the requirement for combining fleet. But other than that, it doesn't really matter. You can have them in any order you want, and they still probably sink the boss, assuming you have the right equipment. Shimakaze kills the boss. And then she says the same thing over and over again. That's just the third sortie. As you can see, easy map. Every time I sortie, I sink the boss. Because E3, it's easy. But this is assuming you actually have the preparations. Because the reason why I have these carriers ready, and these heavy cruisers ready, and all these equipment ready, is because at one point I believe people thought the spring event, which was not midway, they thought it was gonna be midway. And I'm a paranoid person, and because of that, I was thinking, what if the devs want me to use a 6 carrier fleet? And because of that, I leveled up, got all the carriers, leveled them up to at least a remodel, And started crafting Reipu, because you need them. And the rest is history, as you can see here. As you can see, I'm actually pre-boss now, because this time around I actually got sent away from the boss. And thinking one of those is actually pretty nice, because that's one last thing that can launch aircraft, but not that it really matters. It matters if you don't have enough aircraft though. It probably does. It matters depending on who you are, but well-prepared admirals will have no problem. Other admirals, however, well, you have to hope you don't have such a high HQ level. Supposedly, if you do not gain victory on this boss, you are more likely to get sent away from the boss, but as you can see here, this is a victory. My line of sight at this point for the first fleet was around 450 with a equipment line of sight of about 120, no, 130 I think. Maybe just be 120. So because of this, I for the second, I actually, you know, increased my second fleet line of sight from something that's really low to something that's a bit high. I don't remember the total line of sight, but the equipment line of sight was around 90 something, and it seemed to work out well. Of course, it also could be just, you know, random chance. But you never know. Devs do all sorts of strange things these days just to give us suffering. I mean, this game is built around suffering, despair. It's like, you don't even like it, but you cannot leave. You're trapped in an infinite loop because that sign says, do not enter. So you go the other way, and it just leads back to the entrance of the ride. And you get on the ride because there's nowhere else to go. And your ride is over, or so you think. But then you leave, and there's that sign that says, do not enter. Then you're back at the entrance again, and you get back on. And it never ends. Green tea, not big deal. Probably more of a problem. Because, yeah, Itachi gets hit, unfortunately. Pretty much, these are pretty much my best destroyers. For the most part, I have other destroyers, but these are pretty much the destroyers I would rely on most. Which means after once I'm done with this event, I think it's time to actually start caring about leveling other ships that have a second remodel, just because they have the second remodel. I mean, I didn't actually level them because you know, they weren't ships that I actually cared about. I was thinking, you know, that I have enough ships to form any one fleet. Then we find out that we're gonna need 2 fleets. Then we find out we're gonna need 3 fleets. Which was, you know, brilliant. Oh yeah, I think this time we still were forced to go to night battle. Get out of those aircraft. Nope, never mind, we sunk her. So you can see this video is a lot shorter than the rest because E3. E4 I haven't done yet, but it seems, from what I've heard, there's quite an amount of compass trolling. I mean, even with high line of sight, you can still be sent away from the boss. I'm not sure how I feel about having to use a strange fleet, which contains the girl who gives you the boats, the landing boats for extra resources. Don't really exactly remember her name because I only leveled her up. I leveled her up to her like the, you know, remodels, but you know, she generally doesn't get used. In fact, let's see, what the ships that get the most use from me for events, well, overall, are probably, I don't know actually. It's probably easy to say which ships don't get action. The ships that don't get actions the most, the class, is pretty much light carriers. And things that are pretty much similar to light carriers. Which, you know, probably turned out probably not going to be the best idea because I see lots of people using the light carriers for E6. You think the desert, you know, give standard carriers more of a chance to shine. Though I guess light carriers also need a chance to shine. That should be fine for. E6 is going to be a big problem, I think. I may end up saving ore for E6. Though I'm not sure if there's really any composition available for me that uses 2 CLTs. I do have 3 carriers for E6 though, and And I do have a number of battleships, 3 battleships available as well. I have 1 heavy cruiser, but that's not. Kako is she's moderately level, but she's one of the lowest level. But she's also the high. She's a heavy cruiser that I leveled, and she's pretty much. But she's the lowest level that's reasonably high enough that I can use her for an event map. Every other heavy cruiser is not even like remodeled yet, because I never really bothered. Because nobody really expected this. I mean, who would have thought that you would need 3 fleets, and not just this is not even 3 fleets. This is technically 4 fleets. Because midway you pretty much send in 2 fleets at once. Nobody expected that. Nobody really expected that. Even when people data mined and stuff about that E-3, I was one of the ones that were hoping that devs wouldn't be such an evil bastard that they would force you to use ships that weren't in either of their parts of the event. Unfortunately, the devs were bastards, evil bastards, who also decided to troll high level admirals with their double hemes, double cock blocks. Not only was she cock blocking in the spring event, she also decided to cock block herself. I mean, she's been a cheese at that boss. Fairly sure she was the E5 boss of Ball event, and she never goes away. Next event, there's gonna be 3 of her. Okay, everybody's probably gonna be expecting that. Okay, maybe not. They'd probably be thinking that devs might be bastard, but probably in their hearts are thinking that devs surely not gonna be that bad. Then again, depends on how paranoid the person is. But am I a paranoid person? Sometimes. Am I a paranoid person to think that devs are gonna be that much of a bastard? Back then, I probably would not have been paranoid to expect this of all things. Now, I don't even know what to expect from the devs anymore. Oh, I don't even know. What sort of bastardly plan can they have next? Probably locking equipment as well as ships. Or maybe you're not allowed to repair. Like, that would be even worse. Once they go out and they return, you can't repair them until the map is cleared, which means you just switch out ships. And Akashi can't repair them either. That would be the most bastardly thing possible. And you can't switch out equipment either. That would be even worse. But somehow, the devs might just be such a bastards. Bastardly sons of. Maybe the devs are working for their best fleet or something. Oh no, this is what they could do. They can they'll give the Abyss repair goddesses and repair teams. And the final boss of the next event. Final boss be like this. It's gonna not gonna have a health bar, but it's gonna come equipped with 4 repair goddesses. Yes. And it's gonna be a pain to sink even once. And you have to sink her 5 times in a single sortie. And that's how you beat the map. That would be horrible. Now what I would like to see from a later event is to be something like, reverse of this. Like, instead of you attacking the enemy, because pretty much every map, every event, you're the one who seems to be the aggressor. You're the one who's sending a fleet out and they just attack the vanguard and move into the boss and shell the boss to death. What would be nice to see would be the reverse. You choose a variety of fleets, but you form a variety of fleets, you put them into the nodes, and the Abyss is the one who attacks with a stronger fleet. And then again, that would be one thing. I mean, how would sinking be handled? I mean, since you're gonna have like a multiple fleets, and you probably won't have to worry about sinking, though. That would make it too easy, probably. Then you just leave your strongest fleet at the end, where they're either at their weakest. So, how the devs would make that work? They'll probably find a way, though. Yeah, E3. There's not much to talk about E3. We're doing the same thing over and over again. Yeah, it's all about air control. And the final sortie, there's no way you can. It's practically impossible to get air superiority on the final sync. The point you may just increase your line of sight just to be safe that you're gonna make it to the boss. That's what I did. Making it to the boss once more. Sortie 8. This would have been the last one if I wasn't sent away from the boss that one time. Because you need 8. You have to sink the boss 8 clean times. That's how they win. Sink the boss 8 times. For most people. I say most, but then again, it might not be most people who are as prepared. I mean, before I didn't consider myself prepared, but after seeing other people, I kind of feel bad that I once complained about how much resources and equipment and ships I had ready. I'm still most worried about E3 though, E6 though. But you know, E6 reward still the destroyer. If I fail, it's not a big deal. Okay, it's a big deal. It hurts my pride, but it won't be. It's never gonna hurt me as bad as Falls, E4, Barrier. Because I really want that sub. I really want to form a fleet of 6 subs. I don't know why. Okay, I actually do know why. I probably use it for 5-3, which I still actually haven't bothered to complete. Just, you know what? I always viewed it as, what's the point? What's the point of completing later maps? It's not gonna unlock me anything. Why go forward? All the maps I need are already unlocked, so why can go forward? Well, guess go forward for completion, right? Surely a good reason. But I really don't want to bother with 5-3 at all. And I would rather sub cheese it. With the sub cheese, I would I mean, people have done it with a single sub. But I would much rather have. I would much rather full 3-up subs. Here we go. The final sync.
MI 作戦に参加した艦艇は我が機動艦隊出撃します。
Such a powerful fleet. I'll be honest, I really like this mechanic of having 2 fleets at once. It actually seems, I mean, it seems pretty damn fun. I don't know why, but having 2 fleets just... Oh yeah, I got sent to the north, which uses a lot more aircraft, but not really because... I mean, there's no way I was going to air support the final boss anyways, because her air power increases like... To get air support, you're going to need 300 something, 90 something. So, as you can see, switch out one for Soria's Raid Proof for another scout. Put more line of sight! But yeah, this mechanic of having 2 fleets, an escort fleet and a main fleet, it seems, you know, actually pretty, seems like actually fun. It's a fun mechanic that actually that's something new to the game. Now, if only carriers had something to make them better. I mean, I don't know about you, but it always felt to me that my carriers, I mean, sure, when they hit, they can potentially do a lot of damage, but it always felt like they were still one of the least. They weren't as powerful like other classes. It always felt like they had low accuracy. I mean, from my time of trying to rank in 5-2, it always felt like my carriers always. I mean, by the end of 5-2, they were Kakagi and Kaga and Shitos were both all level 90s. They were equipped with powerful aircraft, powerful bombers, but it always felt like they always underperformed. They tend to miss a lot. They tend to get put in orange. They can't shell at anyone anymore. It's always I always feel like that's like carriers need a buff. They need something special to them. And already they already give like ships, you know, scout planes that get daytime double attacks, daytime cut-ins, and all that stuff. While what the carriers get, supposedly just scout their initial aerial bombing phase gets a buff, but it doesn't. It probably makes a difference, but the difference can be potentially insignificant. Potentially they can still do nothing, even if they have air superiority and scout appears in the top right corner. I mean, at least carriers do get importance in these kind of nodes, because you know it's all about the air. But even then, their importance here is air superiority. I mean, maybe I don't know much about the War in the Pacific. I don't know much about War in the Skies. Don't know much. They didn't teach us that stuff. I mean, Canadian. They taught us, you know, about the Canadian involvement. You know, Juno Beach. That sort of stuff. They didn't teach us about like, you know, battles of, you know. They talked a bit about it, but they didn't tell us, you know, what aspect was important. I didn't know that. Maybe it's historically accurate that it's all about having lots of faders, and you know, shooting every aircraft out of the sky. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I really wish that, you know, carriers had a more active role in the shelling. Were given like, you know, something that made their shelling, you know, more, you know, gave them importance in shelling. I mean, enemies like carriers are always a threat. The enemy carriers are always a threat. Our carriers, they seem to, I don't know, it always felt like their accuracy seemed lower than the rest of us. I don't know why. It'd be nice if they gained something like how everybody else right now can double attack or cut in the daytime. It'd be nice if, you know, carriers gained some sort of their own version of a cut-in or something like that. I mean, that would be nice. So here we are, the boss. One last time after that big long rant. Now I'm not sure if everybody would agree with me, but you know, I think other people talk about how carriers still haven't gotten their time to shine. I mean, they're still pretty much just Reipu carriers. That's still pretty much their only job. It could be historically accurate, I don't know. But does it make it enjoyable? No, it makes me sad. That's their job. They don't claim that. I mean, at least here for now, they're playing alright robot. I've seen like, I haven't done this later maps, but I've seen other players in like their fleets. I've seen like, okay, I mean that was day one, so they didn't have much information going, but you know, I saw them with like no bombers on some of their carriers, which, you know, with no bombers they can't even attack, so you know, they're purely carrying Sarens or Reipu, which, you know, when other players does that, you know, it generally means that that's what they're best suited for. I think those destroyers are nice though. Makes the torpedo attack more. Well, torpedo doesn't do much that in general. It can do significant amount like that sometimes, but sometimes it can range. It has like like one of those stuff, like, I guess, you know, it kind of reminds us of like lightning damage in Diablo 2, where it always says, you know, there's 1 to 100 damage, high max but low lows, low minimums, high maximum. Yeah, not make the impossibility to get easy superiority makes the final thing a tad harder. So you can see here, our ships don't get double attacks. All carriers are not doing that much damage, or they're missing, or they're already red. So yeah, looks like Sukaku might have actually ran out of bombers at one point. I wasn't paying attention, like much attention. Didn't feel like she attacked though. She might have. I missed it. You see? Yeah. 3 of them are still alive, with 3 non-boss. And we're focusing on the boss. We failed to finish her off. And just hit for it, unfortunately. I like Sendai. I was really glad when she finally got her remodel. It was expected after her sisters got their remodel, but you know, it took a long time. As you can see, sunk that, and Tona carries us to victory. And then her sister sinks a carrier. Say goodbye to Yorktown for now, but she'll be back. Yorktown never sinks. Unlike real Yorktown. Barely seems like Abyss don't sink it, you know? I mean, just look at their E6 boss. You supposedly sunk her in fall. She came back in spring. Now she's back again. That's the final boss again. Never sinks. And the reward for this, for E3, is just equipment. Nice equipment though, it seems like. Yeah, nice 41mm gun. Get ourselves a nice radar. Then we get something that, this is a nice radar, if it seems. Technically my first holo radar. And this seems pretty much useless. I mean, it changes your ship's range to long, meaning your carriers can attack first. It doesn't seem to be. I mean, you're taking a slot just to do that. And here we are. As you can see, the resource for E3 is not a lot. 3k fuel, 173 ammo, 576 steel, a lot of bauxite, and 18 buckets. You can't do anything with these resources and all ship crafting. I mean, even though I calculate this before refueling and repairing, it's still not a lot. Not a lot at all. I mean, it uses quite an amount of bauxite, but even then, your bauxite's probably not gonna run out. They said it was gonna be a bauxite heavy event. If you're not prepared with lots of Reipu, it probably will be. But otherwise, I mean, they told it was coming for a long time. People were crafting Reipu on JP. You can see them complaining that they keep getting like hollow torpedo bombers or hollow dive bombers, and getting not Reipu into the other one that's 9 anti-AA instead of the 10, which I have a lot of because I had the same problems. But if you actually wanted crafting because you knew about it in advance, you knew it's gonna be, it was midway, so you assume you had to craft hollow planes. You're prepared. If you have the ships, you can do midway fine. You can do E3 fine. I didn't even done the rest of midway. E6 is where the problem comes in, because nobody would have expected you need 4 fleets in a way. See you guys next time when we do E4, which I'll probably get started on tomorrow because it's late now. And few ships are actually still in the docks because I don't want to use buckets once the map is over. But I'll be doing E4. That video is gonna be up in a few days. Okay, probably more than a few days, but we'll see how I do then when I do it. See you guys then, and good night.